We have broken the red streak with, it's going to come in as a green day, but I'll call this one a break-even day. Tuesday, September 26th, we made 25 bucks. Woo! Could have been, probably if I avoided one of the trades, I probably could have been like 55, could have avoided the $32 loss on Amazon, but I'm not going to complain. Realistically, this is, small losses, bigger wins, and we were green. That said, this day started off and I can just laugh and smile at it. It's not like it's the end of the world. But it started off and I was like, you have got to be kidding me, with essentially what happened. So I'll tell you what happened. That was on Apple at 9:14. Let's pull up into this here on TradeZella. I also want to pull up for the AMD trade. I do want to pull up Bookmap, so stay tuned for that. I'll pull that up in a second. I'll show you what I was seeing on there. So adjust this over to the 5-minute chart, pull it up so you can see it a little bit better, and I'll adjust my entry and exit. There you go. So now we can pull myself up here. So what did I see? So essentially on Apple, right, this is a setup that I will take every single time, not to mention that Apple on the big picture is this, yeah, look, here's Apple's daily chart over on TradingView, which, by the way, I got an email from TradingView recently yesterday. They've got like up to 70% off kind of flash sale like this week. There's a link below if you haven't signed up or you want to upgrade to one of the upper levels, like this would be the time to do it, or wait for Black Friday. That's what I would do. I may actually upgrade here in a minute. I got to double check what the numbers come out to be, but I might upgrade personally to the premium because I have like the mid-tier paid version. I might just get the premium again. I used to have premium, then I downgraded, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of want it again, so I might go back up. But essentially, Apple's breaking down. I mean, this is the level that I've been like, hey, like I want to short Apple if it drops below this level. So then I'm like, okay, great. We broke below the level. Can you give me a setup? And it did. It had this, well, market opened. I'm not trading. This is too close to open. I'm not messing with that, although it would have been a good downside play under this low right here. Fine. Didn't play it, whatever. Okay. Then it essentially support develops right under 173. So it holds that, balances a couple times, and then it has this candle break. I see a 15-minute consolidation. This thing had about 15 minutes to relax after a decent move down. Great. It had some time to breathe. Let's go for continuation. And then Apple makes a move down, and then it comes back up and breaks over the breaking candle high, and that's my stop loss. So that's when I get out, and that ended up being a loss of about 6.5% on the position, about $1,100 in the position. So, you can, based on the stop loss, it was fine to go a little bit heavier because I knew worst case scenario I was going to risk like 80 bucks. I knew it wasn't going to be that bad of a loss. It's inside of my $100 threshold for a losing trade. But I was like, if this works, like this, not that you want to sit there and try to think about I don't think about the profits. I have no idea what it's going to be. All I know is like, where is $100? If it was to, back test $100 against me, where is that on the chart? And then how do I adjust my option or my position size and the contracts I buy to make sure that I don't lose more than 100 roughly, if this were to go against me and hit the invalidation point, which would be the breaking candle high in this case on a short, and then breaking candle low on a long, right, on the other side of things. So I was like, this could be good. Reason why is like I'm looking back to this daily chart and I'm like, this could be a move. We can looking at down towards 172 first target, and then we're looking at under that. I mean, there's room if we really have a nasty day, this could be a move. And so what it do, right, is it came back and it's not going to do it, right? It's just not going for it. So what I have been seeing and noticing is like this is kind of the theme, and why, like, despite playing mostly shorts this month and the market going down, right, it's like it hasn't been momentum-wise as nice. That's just kind of the nature of it, which gets me like a lot more interested for longs when that time comes and when opportunities present on the long side. Just not right now, but if we do bounce or we start trending back up end of year, like I think that could be a really nice opportunity because we just haven't been seeing it on the downside. So that tells me that maybe the market wants to go up. I have no idea. I'm not making a prediction, but just based off the momentum I'm seeing, it's like we're not really getting that on the downside. If you were swinging stuff, different story. You could be swinging and making, and doing well on this because like bigger picture charts, like Apple, for example, could be a good, like if it closes under that level, this could be a decent swing trade short on the daily chart, with the stop loss up here, up over high of this. So up towards 175, 176, gets above that, get out. And it could be great, could fall under 170 by next week or by the end of this week for all we know. And it could be great. It's just like intraday, it's not. So you have to understand that, make sure you're not getting slapped around. And that's why my loss would have been nice and small. And it was, so we don't get screwed. However, had this, done what I thought it could potentially do, intraday or throughout the day and have a really good momentum day, I mean, you're talking about a trade that could easily be $150, $200 profit based on my sizing, based on how I would scale out. So the system, the strategy is set to be good to go. It's just like we need the market to align. It's not aligned right now. And so there's nothing you can do outside of just make sure you're not losing and protecting your capital, so that when things do align up with your strategy, you're good. Here's where I do want to get into this. So this is AMD. This is where I played the inverse of my strategy. So you think, okay, what the fuck? I played the inverse of my strategy. So I've only done this a couple of times, and I'm going to log this accordingly and make sure I take note of this and stuff. But I essentially played a failed breakout. So what you have is a situation where AMD is pushing up, despite the market generally trending down. AMD is pushing up, so you've got high of day up here on this top upper wick, and then it makes an attempt to break it, and it fails. So I got in short on that fail, and then stop loss goes above that upper wick. So above this wick is my stop loss. So I was able to pretty much have a very tight risk. Like I got in somewhere in here. If I go to a 1 minute chart to show you guys like exactly where I got in, let's see. So like it has this upper wick, and I got in on this candle, so around like 97.30, 97.25, somewhere in there. So where is that going to put you? That puts you like kind of like in the middle of this red body of this candle. So entry here, stop loss here. Did I know it was going to break down? No, below these. No, not necessarily, but I had, hey, massive upper wick, failed break. In a bigger picture downtrend, this is just like, how do you play the inverse of the strategy? So my strategy would be play the breakout here if we're in a bigger picture uptrend. Like that would be your best probability. Technically speaking, you're near high of day. Yes, could you play the breakout there on just a long? Sure, if you want, but your probability, from my experience, my probability is lower when the overall trend the past couple of days or weeks is not aligned with that. So this situation was failed breakout in a bigger picture downtrend. That's the short. And I haven't done this very much because I just want to make sure, like, if I'm going to play this, I know what I'm doing and I have more of the conditions present to do so. But I think based on the market these past couple of weeks, I think we have the conditions present to do so. So that's what I decided to do, and it ended up working. And so all I do is I put the stop loss up here and then just put a take profit at around 10+%, and then just let it work. And it took its time, but it worked. This trade was only, it wasn't that long of a trade, right? If we go down to the bottom, I got in at, entry was at 9:48, first take profit 9:14, so 30 minutes. And then the next take profit, the final one, was at 10:30, so 45 minutes total, which is not that long in the grand scheme. So that was the trade. So you can see the big pop there. And then I took profits here. VWAP was around this area, and then this was down towards low of day, so I took profits there. But what I did want to pull up is how I really took profits was based off of this. So here's Bookmap. I know it's a bit small. I can make it a little bit larger for you. Here's AMD on Bookmap, and what I'm seeing is resistance, or at least liquidity up here. So potentially some sellers, bigger sellers up here towards 98, which is where we failed to break up through. So I'm like, okay, that's easy to put our stop loss there. And then we're going to need to break down below this level right here. But because of upper wick and not a lot of buyers coming in, I felt pretty good about it. We did break below that eventually. And then our next spot was 96. I'm like, 96, there's some buyers down there. I wanted to take profits at 96. So my first take profit actually came around this area of liquidity. And then the next take profit was once we bounced up off 96, I'm like, no, I'm going to get out. I don't want this thing to kind of back test on me. It's going to lock it in. And so that's what I decided to do. So using liquidity there, using the Bookmap heat map to essentially target my sells, which is why I had, sold where I sold on the last contract. And so that was how it was done. And essentially, I'm happy with that. Now, I did take one more, and that was on Amazon. And this is a very small, very tight stop play because I did like the bigger picture setup on this. If you were to go to the 5-minute chart, it's not really where I found this. All right, so here it is. So essentially, you got a big move down. You have the weakest stock out of my list on the day, of my list of 10. And you did just nip below low of day. So I enter on low of day break. It barely really went. Then I stopped out as it broke back above some of these highs. Now, the thing with this is that I found it on the 30-minute chart. So if I go to a 30-minute chart, you'll see what I mean. It was a lot nicer. So you had like essentially a big move down, this wick right here, staying weak on the next candle. And then when you break low of day, like that's kind of almost a flag right there in the downside. Like this tends to work really nice on continuation moves. Problem is that just didn't do it. Maybe it's partially because it already had made a massive move and it needs some time to breathe, some time to chill. So stop loss is pretty tight on that one. Not going to complain. If I go to the chart that I had looked at right here, you know, if I go to the 5-minute chart on Amazon back on TradingView, you'll see what I mean. It's pretty nice of a risk. It was pretty clean, pretty easy to kind of establish this risk. Sorry, Amazon is down here. But when I play these types of things, you know, as the day goes on, as you get towards midday, well, it's, you know, I guess it's a 10:50 my time. I got in this like around 10:30, 10:15 maybe. As the day goes on, right, you get towards midday, you got to be careful. So if I add in the EMA I watched, the 9 EMA, so if you watch what happens when the 9 EMA pops up, it'll be pretty clear. It's pretty clear, and that's why I liked. It was an easy one to risk off of. Looked weak. It was looking like it could break down. And if it did break down below lows, I was there for it. And you see the yellow line now. That was respected very, very well. Once that broke, I exited. And that was it. So back to here. Nothing, not other than that, you know, that was the day. So, you know, we come in and we have a $25 green day. I'm going to call it a break-even day, but it technically breaks our red streak. And but you know, inside of this day, like you had a big winner and then you had 2 smaller losses. Like if you do that over time, you're gonna be fine. I'm not worried about it. It just now is a game of seeing what this market wants to do and then playing off what we get, you know, on the backside of this. So hope that was helpful. I'll leave links to Bookmap, to TradeZella, TradingView, all that stuff down below. Check them out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.